Welcome back for game 3. This is of the UK Open. I'm Mike Chappell, and it's going to be just me again for this game. Hopefully, in the afternoon session when Joseph Bennett will be back hosting, and Natalie Zolti will be commenting. That should be something good to look forward to. Right now, we have Wesley Choy, who up against David Webb. Wesley's originally from Hong Kong, but living in the UK, a strong player. And David Webb, very well known, been at the top of the UK game for many, many years, and also known for his streaming channel, Dweebo Vision, where you can watch him playing on YouTube against different players. Well, I can recommend that anytime. Which has been also going for a long time. So Wesley started kicking off this game. So let's hope for a good game. Interesting first rack. Some nice letters, some not quite so nice for Wesley. He's probably going to be looking at leaving the nice ones like ARS, playing something like Figo or just Fog. Something like that. He's looking at Fog, which is either anything like that. I think Vigo or Fog would be a good move here. Get rid of the awkward F and G. Leave himself with nice in that position. Doesn't give too much back to David. So that's a good start. David's got a pretty nice letters as well. I think he may have been hoping for some letter there for an 8, maybe an I for royalist or something like that, or solitary, but he hasn't got that. But he's still got some, so he's probably maybe just looking to pay off the Y on the YO or something like Yo maybe. You could play under the FY. He's obviously very tempting here. Could play for the Y under the, or if he wants to play slightly longer, you play tie row and leave himself with ALS, which would also be nice. But it looks natural to put that Y under the F anyway, whatever he plays. Although, I think you could also put it on the end of Fog to make Fogey. But that would score a bit less at this point, I think. So he's probably looking at, deciding between just playing off 1 or 2 tiles, with something like Yo, or playing slightly more. Or he could play with something like Tyro. He could play also Loy, Loy, and Fy. Although that does place an O in a dangerous spot above a triple word score. So I think those are the kind of things he'll be considering. Either way, he's probably going to put the Y under that F. He's looking at Loy, which is one of the good moves, I think. Leave ARST, score 22 points. I think that would be one of the recommended moves. No, he's decided he's going to play Loy, but making Fogey rather than under the FY. Okay. Maybe he wanted to slightly more open board as he's got promising bonus letters. So 2 S's for Wesley now. He has got bonuses, but they're not the easiest, I think. The best move is is down from the O. Maybe I won't say straight away what it is. People can think about that. That's easily his best move, but he's also got surmisal or simulus through with the L of Loy. Again, those are not kind of gimme, but not kind of simple bonuses. So the highest scoring one down from the O is actually is actually Ossarium, Ossarium. So that's a tough one to spot though. But if he does, it's easily his best move. But he may well not. If he doesn't play a bonus here, I think he could play Amuse maybe, AMUS under Fogey would be a solid move. Something like that, score 29 or 30, and that's what he's going to do. Yeah, the bonuses were not that easy to see, so this is also a good move. Score 29 and leave IRS, play off one of his two S's. But in a way, it doesn't make it completely obvious that he's got a second S, because it might make David suspect that, but he wouldn't be sure because the S there added enough points that you might not be quite sure whether he has got another S or was just going for extra score. David's got nice rack here. There's a 7 on this rack, which I'm sure David would know. Tarsil, which he can play under making FAE, Omar, and GUL. That fits in nicely. Or he can also play laterals through the Elf Loys. So he's got a decision. But I think he'll certainly, with David's word power, I certainly expect him to be putting down a bonus here. And he's seen Tarsil, which is also had to spot. It's not that it's a word he ought to know, but he still have to spot it and then see the place where it goes under Fogey, which is not totally under Fogey and Amuse, which was not totally obvious. So well played by David, and he takes the advantage in this game, but probably not for long, because a nice rank with a blank and an S for Wesley. So he's probably going to be playing some kind of bonus himself, quite likely through that T of Tarsil. There are quite a lot of options there. Something like shirtier or 30s, shiftier, anything like that. With the I, if he thinks of the IER words, he'll probably get one of those. Or hairiest would score a bit less. But anything like that, he's likely to. So he's probably going. He's pretty sure to spot something like that, I think. Oh, did I? Sorry, I got that wrong, didn't I? Sorry, he's got an extra I. He hasn't got a blank. I don't know why I said that. It's not as good a rack as it was. Not as good a rack as I thought. Sorry about that. I saw it as a blank for some reason. So he's got almost a good rack, but one too many eyes. Sorry about that. Hilly looks, so coming back to the real rack, Hilly looks like a fairly natural move. Just get rid of. He wants to get rid of a couple of those eyes, basically. But if he plays HILI, that looks a fairly obvious way to do that. Or a slightly more fancy way, SIRIH, which would make a hook for his S along the bottom row. but that's a bit more of a strange word to see, odd spelling, Sirih. Or he could just exchange the two I's and leave himself a nice rack, EHIRS. The H goes well with those letters. So I think those are the things he'd be considering. If he, first of all, though, he's probably just thinking, do I, even though I've got three I's, do I have a bonus with that T? And he's gone for a similar idea to Hilly, but Leary, again, he's done what he's wanting to do is get rid of the two I's, but maybe he wants to keep the H because it goes well with the S and gives him some scoring insurance for next turn. Leary is what he's gone for. But again, the main thing I think was to get rid of the I's there. So David's drawn a Q, but he's lined up QAT there. And that's going down fairly quickly for 50 points. So that Leary worked out very nicely. David must have been pleased to see the Leary come down, giving him a perfect place to play QAT and leave quite a nice DINE in his rack. So not much to think about there for David. A bit unlucky for Euclid there that he played the perfect move for David to get 50 points. But he's drawn a Z to go with his letters. Which might mean at least gives him scoring potential. He might have been hoping for a bonus this time, but having the Z still gives him potential to score a lot of points, so it's just as good, really. He'll be like so the things he'll be thinking about are he's got a fairly he could play Z or Zin or Z making T's with the TI that's just been created, but the drawback of that, he scores 44 or 45 points, but he'll be thinking the drawback of that is that it places the tile in the triple lane. There is a difficult thing to spot for 66. A 9-letter word actually through the through the OMA, which is a word that he would know, but you wouldn't probably look there. That's not an easy thing to see. Even though, as I say, it's a word he would know, I'm sure, but to spot it in through OMA like that would be very difficult. That would be nomadizes, but that would be very fancy. But he's probably thinking about whether to take the points for one of those words using tis. Zin or Z or Zen, or to play something safer like hazed, HAZED, but that still leaves a Z next to a double word score. Yeah, he's decided on Zin, just take the points, and leave a very nice DHS on his rack, take the risk of putting the N in the triple line, which probably isn't that great a risk. David is slightly vowel heavy rack, also V, so not ideal, but he can score quite well with that N in the triple, but which Wesley has just put out there. He can score something like Avine, or a bit, or what he's going to play, I think, is Vienna, which is very nice for 39. That's probably his best move, his highest scoring move. So well spotted by David there. Vienna for 39 goes down. And David keeps a good lead. Yeah. Yeah, so Wesley's, well, he looks like he was thinking of the word pig heads or something like that, or the way or pig shed, possibly, the way he set up his tiles. But again, he has actually got difficult bonuses here, but they're not ones that are easy. They're difficult ones to spot. I probably wouldn't see them. And there's through the T. There's through the T of tar. There again through the T of tar seal. The best one he has got actually got a 90-point word. Despite, DESPIGHT. But again, not an easy word. Then if he doesn't see that, he'll be looking to maybe score some points with the P and the H and the D, maybe. He could, if he played Phage through Tarsiel, PHAGE, that would also open up a new area at the bottom, lower down, open up more space for him if he wants to play a move and say doesn't see the bonus, which as time is going by looks like he might not. There's also a P hook for GUL, which he might be looking at, making gulp. He might well be looking at that. No, he's going for Phage, I think, which is I think the best move apart from the bonuses. So still a good move from Wesley. He's getting 28 points and leaving DIS, and as I said, opening up a new lanes, some new areas at the bottom of the board. So I think if he didn't see those difficult bonuses, then that was probably the best move. So David, meanwhile, some good tiles, but only one vowel. But he's got tiles that he can still score with. Easy way would be clap. If you know, assuming David thinks of the word clap with a K, KLAP. You could play that onto the P of Phage. Doesn't, he's thinking he's a bonus ahead here, so he doesn't want to make massive openings, but playing clap wouldn't open anything that much. It's not that likely that Wesley would get a massive bonus down onto the K, though it would be possible. Another natural kind of word to think of with that rack would be like Mac, M-A-C-K, which could be played, but that would be slightly more dangerous going down into the bottom triple line. Looks like he's got clap lined up, so well spotted by David. That's a very good move, and not the most obvious word. Well played by David to see that one. To Wesley, who's unfortunately got 2 U's now, which rather spoils his rack, which has got nice letters apart from that. So So there's not too much he can do this turn in terms of he's not going to be scoring that high. He can use the R of Tarsil to play something like Rud, R-U-D. Well, he's thinking of playing of both his U's with U2 or 2-2 maybe. 2-2 from the T of Tarsil. That's another possibility. Yeah, get rid of both U's. And score slightly less. So he can either score slightly more with like RUD or RUDI, but leave one of the U's, or he can do like this and get rid of both U's with 2-2, but score slightly less. So either way, there's a case to be made for both those things. The 2-2 is good move, I think, score 13, and leave himself with decent DIRS. Meanwhile, David has got too many E's here. Again, nice letters apart from that. He's probably just going to want to something like to play off something like EEM. You could do that by playing Amuse and EME. That seems a very solid move, leaving CERT. Or if he wants to play something to make it a bit longer, he could make it MC, which would also be a good move in the same place. Just extend it. EMCEE, nice word, and MC. So not much to choose between those, I think, really. MC scores slightly more, but leaves RT. EM leaves probably maybe a slightly better leave of CERT, but scores 8 points less. So those are both possible choices. He's looking at something else at the moment, erect, or is he looking at EM above clap? He maybe was thinking of playing amuse and erect. No, he's playing it that way, the other way, adding his E to the GUL. Okay, maybe that's slightly more defensive. But either way, it's still solid move from David. And keeps him in a good lead. So Florid's on the rack for, which probably isn't a word, I don't think, is it? I'm not sure. But it doesn't play anyway, even if it was. Well, no, it would if it was, but I don't think it is. Sorry. Sorry for that. But at any rate, yeah, sorry. He's probably looking to play off a number of tiles here, though. He could maybe he might have to score well. He's going to have to use the S to score really well, which he might be a bit reluctant to do. But all the high scoring moves would use the S. Either making some of them making claps like fields with an I, FIORDS, or folds or something like that in that area. CORF down to the bottom, which I believe doesn't take an S. Would be another possibility. That'd be an interesting one. Saying it wouldn't be as risky as all that. But maybe he wants something slightly more open than that. And also with 2 blanks out, he might think of, it might be worth playing something like Fields, score 31 points, and go for those blanks. Also open up the top half of the board a bit. On the other hand, he might think he wants to leave that S hook there, as it's such a nice one, onto clap, and he's behind, and play somewhere else. So those are strategies he could think about. He needs to be a bit careful, Wesley, with his time, though, because he's slipping a bit low on time. Okay, he's decided to score a few points and balance his rack with Phil. He wants to preserve the S and hope to use that claps hook to score a big score in the next move or two, to catch back up with David. David's drawn one of those blanks, but he's got a slightly Val heavy rack and double A's and double T's. So there is a bonus, which is a normal kind of word, but not that easy to spot. Although it's an kind of I won't say everyday word, but a normal enough word that people would know it. But it's with the blank and those double vowels and so on. It's not the easiest. It's not the easiest thing to actually spot it. Is there? So that word would be emaciate, which everyone will know, but as I say, but isn't very easy to see. But he seems to have got it lined up, well spotted by David. A good spot there, as I say. It's not the hardest word, but with those letters and a blank, not at all easy to see. So well played there by David. And this is going to put him into a very commanding lead. His only worry will probably be that Wesley might hit back with a 9-timer through that E, because he's going to be 160 ahead after that. But he's still right to play the bonus emaciate, in spite of leaving that E out there, because the risk isn't very great that would happen. And in fact, because Wesley has a J, it's and 2 O's, he's not in a position to get anything like to get a 9-timer, but he can score through that E with Red on for 36. Seems like or at least he decides to leave it open, just because a 9-timer is probably his main chance of getting back into this game, and there might be a chance that David didn't block it. They're probably only a small chance. But if he could play, well, he doesn't really, if he's thinking about leaving the 9-timer open, he doesn't really want to play Jot next to the T of emaciate. He could use his S and play dojos and claps. So tricky choice for Wesley here. He could say either use that E, or, which he probably should, I think, because it's unlikely that David will leave it open, but he might think it's his only chance of winning is to get a 9-timer through that. On the other hand, he may think there's still a blank out there, a lot of time to go. He may get a couple of bonuses and come back if he gets a good score now with the J. So he might pick up the other blank and get a bonus down and get back into the game that way. So if he wants to use that E, then as I say, okay, he's instead of red on, he's playing G-ons. which scores the same amount, so the same kind of idea, leaving DOR. So the right idea, that I think, to play through that E and score some points with the J. David has got this time too many N's, and also a U on his rack, so not perfect, but again, he's got some scoring potential. Something like Runny to the left of 2-2, making rug and so on. Runny would be fairly obvious with this. Nunny is also a word with an N. But Runny, I think, is a likely move, likely to see here. I don't think David would think it's a great risk to put a Y in that triple lane. So he might be considering a 9-timer. He doesn't want to open any kind of 9-timer. He might want to play somewhere else. He could also play Runny onto the F of Phil. Or he could play across from that F. He could play Funny. So those might be, he might consider those as slightly safer, even though it's not a massive risk. Putting a Y in the bottom row, David might prefer not to take even a small risk, and play Runny or Funny higher up. But something like a UNNI word, yeah. So he's going for that option. Looks like Funny. I think that's a solid option. Score 19, leave himself with a nice, very nice ENR, and not really give too much back for Wesley. Who's got decent rack, but not going to be massive scoring, I think. With the B and the 2 O's. So it won't be ideally what he was hoping for in this position, where he needs very good racks to come back. I mean, looks like he's considering Vardy onto the Y, which would be a decent score and open up a couple of new lanes. The only disadvantage would be that it'd leave 2 O's. So that would be a move with some advantages, but not ideal in leaving 2 O's. Onto the U, he could play Vodou, Vodou, leaving ART on his rack. That would be a nice move, but slightly harder to spot. Or just get rid of the VO and play VOR where Cat is down onto that AR, leaving a nice balanced rack of ADORT. But that probably, it creates a lane, but through the V, but not a great lane. So that's why he's thinking of something like, to say, he looks like he was thinking about. No, he's just, yes. What's he going to play? Oh, I see. That's quite clever. He's setting up Votary. So he's setting up Votary for himself. So a clever idea from Wesley. Less obvious than other moves we were thinking about. He gets rid of one of the O's and leaves VOT. So that's a clever plan. He's got to try something different, I suppose, if he wants to get back into this game. He's got to try not just for bonuses, but for big bonuses, either to open a 9-timer or to do something like this and aim for a bonus with a V across the top. Not much that David can do about that directly. but he's got decent letters himself. Oh, notary, of course. I was forgetting notary. Yes, of course. He's got an end. He's got. In fact, it's worked out perfectly for David, hasn't it? Because he can play notary and Gorhen. So, in fact, it didn't work. Wesley took that risk, but in fact, it didn't work out that well because David had a perfect response in notary. So, unfortunate for bad luck for Wesley there. He tried something, but unfortunately it backfired. David the perfect response of Gorhen for his left on the board. It's a bit of a faint hope for Wesley now to come back, but I'm sure he's still going to keep fighting as well as he can. Although he may start to be thinking about just reducing the amount of spread he loses by. Also, he hasn't got that much time left to think things out. You could play Bivia. I mean, these are words which don't create anything particularly new, like Bivia or Vidiot, onto the letters of notary. But they would score and get rid of his most awkward letters, but they won't give him probably improve his chances of winning particularly. He might want to try and think of, perhaps he's trying to think of something more creative, setting up another, like he did with Otary, trying to set up another opening for a high scoring bonus. Or as I say, he could start to play just for points and maybe to try and reduce his spread if he doesn't think he can win the game. But he's probably still going to keep trying for now. Okay, so yeah, that's a move that does make an opening at least. Gets rid of the B and the V, leaves two eyes, but it does at least make a new opening for him and score a few points. David's got not a very nice rack, but it won't worry him too much now at this point, I don't think. He'll be pretty happy with the game situation. He's got Woody, I think, would be a fairly easy thing to play here. Onto the O of Bravo would close up that lane that Wesley just created. That should be something like that, and hasten towards the end of the game with not that many tiles remaining. Maybe pick up the other blank. Yeah, that looks like a fairly natural move for David to play Woody. I was thinking of Dowie instead. Okay, same kind of idea. I think he's wondering how many tiles are in the bag. Is it 8, I think. So be thinking is Wesley got any chance of playing 2 bonuses, and there aren't enough tiles for that to happen left. So Dowie, same idea as Woody. Basically doesn't score quite as many, but that's also fine. Take out that line that Wesley just created and get rid of most of his awkward letters. So that's fine from David. Unfortunately for Wesley, he's got awkward letters as well, so his chances of coming back are non-existent really at this point. He's probably just going to try and score a few points. Maybe with something like WAID, or he's looking at the word Weiss from that E of Dowie, maybe. Yeah, that looks a very natural move. I think he's just trying to score a few points now, and also he's short of time to think of much else. So yeah, that's all he can do now, really. I think just score a few points with his tiles. And meanwhile, David's still got nice letters. He's got the X and the other blank. So everything's still going well for David. Ooh. Now there's actually I think 100-point bonus available here. I don't know if people can spot that. I don't wonder if David will, if he'll. There are other nice moves as well. Up at the top, using the top triple, more like oxides, for instance, or doxies, those kind of words, or just oxide even, and which score about 50 points. But the 100-point one is actually through the A of emaciate. If you make the blank an L, there's a oxidable, which I wonder if David will have a go at that if he thinks of it, or if he'd even know it. But he could go out in style with 100 points. He's got. If he does think of it, he might go for it because he's nothing to lose really. On the other hand, he may not. He may think of it. He may not. He may even know it. We don't know. So he's thinking about something anyway. He's written down something and he's thinking of something. So he may be. He may have thought of it. Yeah, it looks like he's lining it up, or is he just lining up oxide? No, it looks like he's lined it up. He's thinking about it. He's going for it, I think. So brilliant play from David here, because it's a difficult spot. And so a brilliant play in that way, but also a lot of players would probably have just knowing the game was won, might not have thought for that long, just have stuck down oxide or something at the top. But David, very well done there, brilliant play, oxidable for 100. So just to put the nail in the coffin for Wesley, very well played, great finish from David there. Very nice finish to this game. So that one just didn't go Wesley's way. That's just being challenged naturally, and of course Wesley is bound to challenge that. But yeah, brilliant play from David at the end there. But also emaciate, very well spotted with the other blank. So he had both the blanks, but not easy things to spot, especially oxidable, which was, as I said, at the end there, he could have just put oxide down and not thought too much. So yeah, I mean, David may have had a bit of luck in that game as well, but very well played from him, and good effort from Wesley too.